Good afternoon. My name is Toby. Welcome to my workshop. I work on a lot of different stuff in my workshop. I feel that diversity in the shop keeps the mind strong. Today we're working on 380 reloads. I like my boxes to be covered like this because occasionally I do a lot of woodwork. And this keeps the dust and even some humidity away from the bullets, the shells, keeps them clean. First thing we got to do for the 380 is we put our foot in that holds the bullet in place. Then, of course, we pick our die from our press set for this kit. It's usually a number 4 for the 380. Take the bullet or the shell, we slide it in, then we pinch it down. Making sure, of course, that the thing's fully seated. Check the flush with your nail. That's always a good thing. Slide it in. Then you select your This basically does two things. First off, it works really good for the bell to widen the shell, so that way the bullet will seat much more easily. You don't ever want to force the bullet into the shell because in most cases it just won't go, or in worst cases you'll crush the shell with the bullet. So you want to be very careful about doing that. When it comes to my single stage, I like the single stage simply because it allows me to enjoy the hobby more. It's not a manufacturing machine. If you get a 3 or a 2-stage machine, it works too fast. It takes some of the fun and enjoyment out of it for me. Now, you may prefer a multiple stage machine, but that's just not where I enjoy the hobby. We have the bell, we press it up, you'll feel it. There is some sense. You got to get a feel for this. How far you need to go, how far you think you want to go when it comes to doing that. Trial and error. It's a very, very important thing for this hobby. Of course, talk to friends, talk to anyone you can about reloading. Most people who do reload are passionate about it, do enjoy talking about it. So don't be afraid to ask questions. In this particular hobby, the worst question is the unasked question, because if you don't ask a question, you can really get yourself hurt very badly, especially if you do it incorrectly and your bullet does not fire properly. It gets stuck in your barrel. Try to be careful out there. First rule is safety. Safety, safety, safety. If you feel it necessary, wear a pair of safety glasses. I do, when I'm working with the grinder or working with whatever in the shop, I either use safety glasses or I'll use a safety shield. But safety is always a good idea when you're doing things like this. The cigar that I'm smoking, just in case you're curious, is a Monte Cristo. It's a good cigar. It's about $12 at the cigar shop. I really enjoy it. But like I said, safety, 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 safety. Now that we're belled out properly, we take our powder, making sure, of course, that we got the right kind of powder, not like a pistol primer powder. That's the other thing I completely forgot. This one here, these primers in my right hand are for basically 380, 9mm, 32. There are small pistol primers. There are large pistol primers. Then there are small rifle and large rifle primers. Now, there is a chance I may confuse you with this next one, but it's worth talking about. Then there are the, which I will not be using today, there are the small pistol for Magnum. It's just another dimension of the hobby that if you're really enjoying the hobby, try to do everything you can. That's why, even though I probably will never use everything recently or soon, I will at least use most of these bullets and shells and primers sooner or later. Now, next, we take the thing, and we take the shell, and in the press we push it all the way up. Next, for a good reason, we take our funnel and we place it here so that we're less likely to miss powder into the bullet. Take our little scooper here. You want to slide it in, and then I enjoy just drawing it off the top of the lip here to smooth it out. You want to try to get as much in there as possible without, you don't want to pack it, but you want to draw it off flat. Dump it in there. Make sure you tap it. That'll make sure that everything slides down. Sometimes the plastic has a nature to grab. So you tap it, and it goes down all the way. Replace your measure machine and replace that. There you go. Now, one thing you must also remember is, even though all these little tools are metal and they have a very good chance of rusting, you want to be careful when you're placing oil on these pieces and parts, because you don't want the oil to mix with the powder. It won't burn properly, and that'll affect your bullet and your shell. Whenever you're working with gunpowder, you want to be very, very careful. You don't want to mess around. You don't want to play around. You want to be very careful with the gunpowder, because it's designed to explode. So you want to be careful with it. As I always said, safety first. So next, we go over to the selection board here. Whoop, didn't turn that good enough. Selection here, and we look for our 380 bullet right here. I'm sorry, I should have showed you down here. Sorry. All right. Now we got the bullet. I'll pull this down a little closer so you can see it. Now, this is about as simple as you can think it is, as long as you belt out your shell right. You want to place it as round as you can, so it's sitting straight up, but also rounded off. Now, I have forgotten to mention it, but we got time now. What you want to do is take a factory cartridge, a pre-made shell. This is the best way I've found to make sure that your bullet is the factory length. So you take a factory bullet and you put it in your press, and then you put this in, not all the way down, nut down, you want it a little up. Then you press this down in such a way so that way you can tighten it to the factory length. Now, of course, you could always use the dimensions in the cookbook and a micrometer to measure a factory bullet, and then, of course, take the measurements off the cookbook. You'll of course find books like this at any any gun store worth its salt. Now that we are ready, because I've already pre-done that step, we will press down till our press is all the way tight. Now you can do it a lot of different ways. You can set it up different ways. Like I said, trial and error. I'm not going, that's as far as it needs to go. And we pull our micrometer out. We've already got our measurements. We know what it needs to be. And we line it up. And we check it. In some cases, you might even want like a small clipboard or notes so you know what you're doing is right. As I said, safety first. So, now you have your pre-made, you're ready to go bullet. With the ready-to-go primer and the ready-to-go bullet. Just that easy. Now, the hobby is a hobby. This is not always easy. This is not always fun for everybody. But if you enjoy it, it's something that makes you happy. Well, that's the most important part of any hobby. And as a bonus, if it brings you together with other people of like-minded thoughts, feelings, hopes, and dreams, then all the better. And remember, America helps those who help themselves. I hope you tune in to my channel to watch any future videos I may have. And I hope your day goes as well as mine is going to go. At least as good as this cigar is. Have a nice day.